It's Tuesday, February 28, 2012. I'm Aaron Dyke sitting in on this INFOWARS Nightly News. Coming up later in the broadcast, we're going to be joined by Gary Franchi, who's now leading one of the super PACs for Ron Paul. He's also done his work with the Reality Report, and he's going to comment on tonight's primaries in Michigan and Arizona. But there is no doubt Ron Paul and all the people supporting him virally on the web have broken the false illusion of the media-controlled paradigm. The internet revolution has begun. The firewall is down on that. But first, we'll turn to news. The NDA nullification passes in Virginia Senate by a veto-proof, not a 39-to-1 vote. They already passed a version in the House. It will have to go back through the House after they added an amendment, but it passed there already 96-to-4, so it is expected to pass again. Nonetheless, they're urging people there to thank the Senate, urge the House to pass it again, and urge the governor not to try to kill the bill. He's kind of voiced opposition to the legislation already, Governor Bob McDonald. Anyway, there's a quote from Delegate Bob Marshall, who is named as the bill's primary sponsor. During World War II, the federal government incarcerated tens of thousands of loyal Japanese Americans in the name of national security. By this bill, Virginia declares it will not participate in similar modern-day efforts. I'll declare it, too. I won't participate in these modern-day efforts. So are other states and other local communities. Everyone should get behind nullifying the NDA Act and let them know. Remember when people protested against the Patriot Act? Where is that movement again? This is ridiculous. We're on a slippery slope to pure tyranny, pure hell, people. It has nothing to do with Obama or any other monkey in office in some suit. Meanwhile, rights groups are also protesting and petitioning the FAA on the use of drones inside the U.S. In those airspaces. Watchdogs warn that UAVs increase First Amendment risk for would-be political dissidents. I mean, naturally, somehow we sat by while they used drones to kill innocent civilians in Pakistan and Iraq and Afghanistan, all these other places. And now, look, in just a couple of years, it's come home to roost. Now they're using them to surveil farmers in the Western world, in the United States, in Europe to enforce codes, in the UK. And if you don't think they're going to be shooting people down in the future, I don't think you see where this is going. Anyway, Steve Watson writes, the consequences of increased government surveillance through the use of drones are even more troubling, according to the petition's quoted notes. The ability to link facial recognition capabilities on drone cameras to the FBI's next-generation identification database of DHS IDENT database, two of the largest collections of biometric data in the world, increases the First Amendment risk for would-be political dissidents. No, I think it's perfectly reasonable for them just to fly drones wherever they want and move towards that They Live tasering drone that admittedly is part of their unveiling designs already. Meanwhile, Robert Fisk at the London Independent has written that the new Cold War has already started in Syria. Yeah, I mean, of course, they've already started covert wars in Syria, Iran, and a lot of other places, but it's even more out in the open now. He writes, in part, if Iran obtains nuclear weapons capability, I think others across the Middle East will want to develop nuclear weapons. But he goes on to point out they already have them in Israel by the hundreds, but nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to fearmonger about Arab states getting nuclear weapons. It may be dangerous, but that is the game already underway. How can you blame these nations for trying to update their status on the geopolitical chessboard from a mere pawn to some other face piece? Well, everything's dangerous. I just hope that war doesn't further escalate here. Congress has a new job approval low of only 10% in Gallup's latest poll. In late 2011, it was already at a low of 11%. Later, a brief bounce up to 13%. They've already found Congress at a 9% approval rating, an all-time low in a CBS News poll back in November 2011, only a couple years ago. People still not behind Congress, hating them more and more. 86% of people totally against Congress, not approving of what they do. Even as Obama gets brief bumps for this and that as he runs for re-election, the overall picture clearly shows a deterioration of faith in the establishment media and the establishment politics. The internet has totally leveled that playing field, and we'll get more into that in a minute in regards to the Ron Paul revolution. Meanwhile, a judge sides with Monsanto and ridicules small farmers' right to grow. That's according to the OSGATA blog. They've written on February 24th, Judge Naomi Buchwald handed down her ruling on a motion to dismiss the case of organic seed growers and trade assistant et al. Versus Monsanto after hearing oral arguments on January 31st in federal district court in Manhattan. Her ruling to dismiss the case brought against Monsanto on behalf of organic farmers, seed growers, and agricultural organizations representing farmers and citizens was met with great disappointment by the plaintiffs. And what you see here is Monsanto aggressively going after people for this crossover pollution of organic crops or even just conventional crops with their patented seed and then suing them. And they cite that, oh, it's only been a few cases that actually made it to court. There's been hundreds of farmers who've been threatened and, they've settled and been intimidated and gone after this. We had people come up in Dallas at the event where Alex spoke at the Lakewood Theater, just randomly telling us about how his father had been pursued by Monsanto, intimidated and forced into a payout. It's happening everywhere. And then these judges act like it's not happening, that there's no evidence of harm done, supposedly. No, it's an aggressive takeover of agriculture worldwide. They're shutting down all the farmers in India and Africa and other parts of the developing world, and they're really challenging it here in North America and Europe as well. We've covered that at length, but here you have another stepping stone to Monsanto's total takeover and a total slap in the face to the organic farmers. Now, there's a good quote here from Maine organic seed farmer Jim Garrettson, who's the president of the lead plaintiff of OSCATA. We reject as naive and undefendable the judge's assertion that Monsanto's vague public relations commitment should be a source of comfort to plaintiffs. The truth is we are under threat and we do not believe in Monsanto. The truth is that the American farmers and the American people do not believe Monsanto. Family farmers deserve our day in court, and this flawed ruling will not deter us from continuing to seek justice. The problem is Monsanto's totally infiltrated the government, taken over the FDA and at various times the USDA. Right now, Tom Vilsack is totally in their pocket. Right now, other people in the FDA are as well. Michael Taylor, a very, very notable revolving door client for Monsanto, a former lawyer for them, later a VP. You've also got the judiciary bought out, not on this chart showing people like Hillary Clinton, Michael Taylor, and others crossover from government to Monsanto. Bush people, Clinton people, Obama people, really doesn't matter, all behind Monsanto. You've also got Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, a former Monsanto lawyer inside the firm, now in the Supreme Court, and he actually presided over a lawsuit for Monsanto, which was Monsanto versus Geerton Seed Farm, number 09475 in the Supreme Court. Another conflict of interest on the Supreme Court was Stephen Breyer. He actually recused himself. Clarence Thomas refused to recuse himself. Stephen Breyer's brother is also a federal judge, Charles Breyer. He had already heard Monsanto cases, and yet when the Monsanto case came to the Supreme Court, he was almost going to hear it. I mean, good thing he recused himself. That is notable. But why didn't Clarence Thomas, who worked directly for Monsanto? The truth is they've got great influence in all the branches of government, and it's really a big behemoth beast that we've got to fight against. In other news, it's been revealed that the U.S. plans to charge Assange. That's according to new emails leaked from Stratfor. An internet email to Stratfor analysts on January 26th of last year, the vice president of intelligence, Fred Burton, responded to a media report concerning U.S. investigations targeting WikiLeaks with the comment, "We have a sealed indictment on Assange," and lots of other comments as well. This comes as WikiLeaks decided to release millions of emails, more than 5 million, from the Texas headquartered, the Austin-based, in fact, Stratfor global intelligence company, which airs as a private intelligence company, but actually provides confidential intelligence reports for various parts of government, including Homeland Security, the U.S. Marines, and the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, as well as a number of contractors and big firms, including Dow Chemical, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon. Among other cases, they cite the example of how they said you have to take control of them. Control means financial, sexual, or psychological control, where they try to control an Israeli intelligence informant who had information on the medical condition of Hugo Chavez. And just by the way, since we're talking about Monsanto, I want to point out that people like Lockheed Martin, people like McDonald's, the fast food corporation, are all on the board of directors for Monsanto. And you've got all those former secretaries of defense, from Rumsfeld to the others, that Italian guy from the 80s and the Reagan administration. And so there is the corporate governance of Monsanto, their board of directors. And it was Lockheed, but apparently that's changed in the last few weeks, because I looked at this pretty recently. But you do see McDonald's USA on there. You see Procter & Gamble on there. You see the Sara Lee Corporation. A lot of very important people, as well as Michael Taylor, Clarence Thomas, William D. Ruckelshaus, and a lot of other notable judges and government position people. In fact, let's just take one more look at that Venn diagram showing just some of the overlap of U.S. government officials who are also part of Monsanto. And moving on, we have the secret media war of 2012. And this is about the Ron Paul campaign, but it's not just about getting Ron Paul elected to office. It's about taking down the whole veil of the left-right paradigm, the whole false media channel thing where Fox News is supposedly in opposition to MSNBC and ABC. It's about the whole corporate sponsorship by the world government players, by the billionaire elitists who always want to tell us how to live and what to do, how they support the media corporations. And really a great article at the Daily Bell